The 2024 general election in the books, and the numbers going to be official here in Illinois, with the Illinois State Board of Elections set to proclaim the election results during a State Board of Elections meeting today. Good morning. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Be sure to get the podcast anywhere you get podcasts, Illinois in Focus. And also, wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we break down things you need to know. So let's get into it. Today, the Illinois State Board of Elections is going to release election data. But obviously, in Illinois, you have Vice President Kamala Harris getting the popular vote in the state and getting all 19 of the state's electoral college votes. Even though of 102 counties across the state, all but I think 14 went to Donald Trump. But if you look further down the ballot, you see some interesting things. No Republican state house gains, no Republican congressional gains. It's pretty much status quo, with Democrats maintaining their hold on Illinois congressional seats and Illinois state house seats. Governor J.B. Pritzker, shortly after the election, he shared some of his, election-related thoughts, in particular about how it looked down ballots. But he said, listen, there's going to be a lot of analysis on all of this. And clearly, you're going to have to wait to get some official numbers here. And we're going to get those today from the Illinois State Board of Elections.
Here's what I want to say, though, about Illinois. Interestingly, with all of the improvement that Donald Trump had across the country and in Illinois in terms of his margin, if you look just below that and all the way down the ballot in Illinois, Democrats won every seat in the General Assembly that it already had. And we won in races that I think people didn't expect, at county board races, taking control of the McLean County Board, for example, coroners races. Literally, if you look, people clearly bifurcated, and made decisions different down the ballot than they did at the top of the ballot. And so I'm proud of that. I think that's a result of the policies that Democrats have had in Illinois and the approval of the voters about those.
So Governor Pritzker, again, saying that if you look at the top of the ticket, Trump made some inroads. He got 44% of the votes to Kamala Harris's, 53% or so. So, clearly Donald Trump made inroads, right? But he says, if you look further down, Democrats won state house seats and congressional seats, and they took over the Madison County Board and got coroner seats and such, saying that is a stamp of approval from voters of Democrat policies. Republican State Representative Ryan Spain said, not so fast.
Nothing could be further from that truth. If you look at a national perspective and you see Donald Trump winning each one of these battleground states where billions of dollars were spent, voters were mobilized and were making informed choices. Likewise, you see here in Illinois, a state that was not competitive, that had only, for president, had only one contested congressional election. We have 17 districts, 3 are occupied by Republicans. That's less than 20% of our congressional delegation. And yet Donald Trump, who did not do any work or advertising in this state, took 44% of the vote. That's a far cry from the 3 districts that are represented in Congress, and certainly a far cry from the 1/3 of the legislature that is represented by Republicans. It is not an endorsement of the status quo. It is an indictment of the Democratic gerrymandering and the way that voters have been disenfranchised in the state of Illinois.
So Spain saying that in no way did voters approve of Democratic policies, because the numbers, how they play out, show, again, Trump getting 44% of the vote, making significant inroads. But that 44% of the vote statewide, he says, isn't reflective in the seats in Congress. It's not reflective of the seats in the state house, because of 17 congressional seats that Illinois has, we keep losing congressional seats because we keep losing population. But of the 17 congressional seats, all but 3 are in Republican hands, and that's, percentage-wise, much smaller than 44%. Then you look at the state house seats that Republicans have, and there again, the percentage is, like 20% or something of, 20-30%, nowhere near the 44%. So what Spain is saying, it's a reflection of the map that Democrats have drawn in the state of Illinois for congressional seats and state house seats that give Democrats favorable position in those particular districts. Look at Illinois' congressional maps. If you've ever taken political studies courses and you've heard about gerrymandering, some of the jurisdictions look very much like a weird worm snake with wings or something that's snaking through, grabbing up urban areas of multiple cities, in particular Nikki Budzinski's district, for instance. Regardless, gerrymandering is why Republicans say Democrats held on to their seats, while Trump, the Republican presidential candidate, made inroads in Illinois. Back to Pritzker, though. Again, he said that, if you look down ballot, you can see that Democrats did very well, and it was a good sign that voters appreciate the Democrats' priorities.
It's a result of organizing the Democratic Party of Illinois, which was not organized a couple of years ago, right? It was almost moribund if you go back 2.5 years. And so a lot has been done to rebuild the scaffolding and the infrastructure of the party. And remember that Republicans in Illinois were projecting that they would win 5 seats in the General Assembly, and they didn't. And there were a lot of competitive races all across the state, and Democrats fared very well.
So again, the governor talking about the outcome of state house seats, saying that Republicans said they were going to get 5 seats, but they didn't. Here's Republican leader in the Illinois House, Tony McCombie, talking a bit about that.
Yeah, well, the goal was for us to actually gain 5, and we had 2 sleepers. Unfortunately, we were not able to do that. As you all know, the speaker said not only were we going to he was going to gain, those 4, but I think there's even a rumor of 8. So who knows? I'm certainly in a better position because I've held my caucus together. But that just also goes to show, again, how disenfranchised the voters are with this map. Here we have all of this money spent, 4.2 million on our end, 20.5 million on their end, with disingenuous ads. You can ask any of our tier 1 candidates, any of our members, how disgusting the ads were. They went way too far this cycle, but it just goes to show how bad the maps are. We had good candidates, we had good plans, and yet here we are only holding 40 seats. I mean, we can't argue with the map. This is Illinois, but we did see about 44,000 additional Republican votes for the Republican candidate, and unfortunately, we didn't see that in an increase in numbers in our caucus. That being said, now remember, last cycle we had 70,000 more votes for GOP candidates, but the Democrats hold 2/3 of the House. That's a real problem, and if anything shows you, that's that map.
So again, McCombie saying that in no way did Republicans have victory. She's not proclaiming that, but clearly with Donald Trump making inroads in Illinois, and you compare that to the outcome of legislative and congressional races that had contests, it's the map that's the problem. Illinois' map, by the way, getting an F of good government groups looking at how redistricting took place after the 2020 census. We'll get official numbers today. Those will be dissected. We'll hear all about voter turnout and be able to go down and look at all of these particular races. And people are going to try to do the crosstabs and look at who voted for who and the makeup of individuals who once were Democrats and who aren't anymore, and that type of thing. So fascinating stuff. We'll be watching it all and reporting out to you here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Join us each and every weekday morning here as we break down things you need to know to keep going on in your states right here in Illinois. All right, Illinois in Focus Daily. Get a hold of me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air. All right, make it happen.